of the Ducatis of Lorenzo's really does go off. But just coming on to the Bordeaux here, look at Alicia Spargo on the Aprilia. What a fantastic result for him. Dovizioso, the leader of the joint leader of the championship at the moment. I think he's going to find it difficult to even get in the top 5 and save this championship deficit that he's going to get from here with Marc Marquez. Petrucci, after these amazing results in Misano, found it very, very difficult this weekend. Great riding from Jack Miller, as we saw with the interview, and Folger really struggling on the Tech 12 bike as well.
The 8th row is ugly reading for all British bike fans. Lowe, Smith, Redding. What's happened to these guys this weekend?
I really don't know. Obviously the confidence is completely lost, Sam, bless him. I hope he does find something in this race-long distance here at Aragon, but Bradley Smith, a lot of work to do to try and catch that test rider.
Well, the early morning mist that had us scratching our heads and looking to the skies is blown towards Barcelona. Conditions are absolutely perfect for what could be a defining race in this year's championship. 3 riders separated by 9 points. Something is going to give under the Aragon sunshine. Let's join Neil Hodgson and Julian Ryder.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you for the grid walk, gents. 40 degrees now of track temperature, but my main question is not about Valentino. My main question for you, Neil Hodgson, are we finally going to see Viñales versus Marquez?
Well, everything we've seen so far up to this point says we are definitely going to see that. We've worked, what round is this? Are we round
14?
Round 14, and we've still not seen a head-to-head of the old rivals. That's what it's all about. That's what all the hype was, remember, at the start of the season?
Yep.
This is what everybody talked about, and there's one thing I know is going to happen. When Maverick Viñales gets, when Marc Marquez gets half a chance to stuff Viñales, he's going to. So we could be in for quite a treat.
I would say about a quarter of a chance, and maybe less, and he'll still have a go. But I'm right with you on this. Lorenzo soft tyres, he's going to lead.
Absolutely.
For how long?
Well, that's obviously that's the big question. He's led how many races? He's led about 5 or 6 races.
Half a dozen maybe. And Dovizioso, I have no idea what his capability is in this race.
I think today, for Dovizioso, not stating the obvious, but it's going to be damage limitation, and if it's a 4th place, it's a 4th place. The way this championship, as we've seen, it's been about who's made the fewest mistakes, and there's been a lot of mistakes throughout the season.
There have. For me, the image of this race will probably be Valentino Rossi descending the stairs from the Yamaha office on Thursday with a stick, 3 stairs, and he doubled up in pain. Sorry, that was Friday. On Saturday, he walked down them. Today, he danced down them.
Did he really? I wanted to see today's. We said, didn't we? It's the ultimate physio. Riding the motorcycle is just what he needed.
Came rattling down them at double speed, no stick, hardly a limp.
Just want to say as well, before the start, I know James mentioned it as well, very difficult first corner, 90 degrees, and it comes really quickly. You're only just getting to 2nd gear.
You do indeed. Lots of hard rear tyres in on Hondas and Yamahas, soft on the Ducatis, we believe. There would have been changes. We're going to find out, but let's hope first everybody gets through those first couple of corners. Lights will go on when they go out. We start, and Lorenzo blasts from the middle of the front row. Rossi had a messy start.
Really messy, but he's okay. He's on the inside. I think he's going to be... No, Viñales squeezing 3rd. Crutchlow 4th.
And away, as predicted. That wasn't rocket science from either myself or Neil. Jorge Lorenzo, if he gets onto the back straight first, it's going to be interesting. The Yamaha's pursue. Oh, Marquez.
Really wide.
Oh. And that is Dovi making progress. Well, we asked, and he's already in front of Marquez and Crutchlow. I wasn't expecting that.
No, but it's a different Andrea Dovizioso this year in every form. Aggressive. Doesn't hesitate, and his racecraft's been, it's been fantastic, hasn't it?
Absolutely perfect. Todd Otzi got it right. He's the professor of Moto Grand Prix. But Lorenzo, the old devil, has a lead over Maverick Rossi, Dovi, and then the Hondas. I've got a tyre sheet. We'll inspect that in a little while when things settle down.
We will inspect it in a little while, but we don't need to know what Lorenzo's got on. He's definitely on soft tyres because he's checking out.
He has the soft rear and the medium front. Nearly everybody has the medium front. As Rossi goes on Viñales and runs wide. Not that wide.
No, not that wide.
Blimey. And there is Dovizioso now stalking those two Yamahas towards the back straight. He is right on the back wheel of Maverick Viñales.
This now is going to be the tail of the race. What happens? Can the Ducati out-accelerate the Yamaha?
No, not noticeably. In fact, Viñales pulled away with the grunt out the grunt. Now the Ducati gets into its stride.
Wow. Oh.
And Maverick is sent to the car park.
And get ready. Who just went past? Marc Marquez.
Making progress. Rossi in second, behind Lorenzo. Oh, it's like old times. The gap is 0.8 of a second.
Incredible, incredible.
And a man we never talked about, Danny Pedrosa, is Pascal Crutchlow.
Who's been fast all weekend, just didn't do anything special in qualifying.
And as for Mika Kallio, the wild card, the test rider from KTM, 8th at the end of the first lap.
And where's Bradley Smith? That's the question. That's where that's the
19th.
sort of inter-team race. 8th, right? Yeah.
So we'll see how that one pans out. There's lots to talk about there. Well, let's see what Lorenzo. The gap's come down a 10th over the first sector,
which is what we've seen all year. He goes straight away on that first lap, and then they slowly catch him back up.
Dovi is still in front of Marquez and Viñales. Marquez and Viñales are having a fight, but it's for 4th and 5th, and Marquez is winning it.
I know we're only 2 laps in, Julian, but the standout man so far is Dovi. You know,
absolutely.
We've talked him down all weekend. He's been nowhere. He's been floating around 9th, 10th throughout most of the 3 practice sessions.
The shock for me is Viñales' tyre choice, because James Tozen was pointing out all weekend he's got to go the softer tyre. He's got to, or he's in trouble. It looks like he's had to go the hard tyre, and it looks like he's in trouble.
Absolutely. James spotted that in, when was it? I think FP4, or FP3, FP4.
As we look at Marquez with the reset button on the top of the crash app for his home race.
You know, normally with Mark, I'd feel confident that he's the man for this weekend. But just the way he's been, 2 crashes already, let's remember, this weekend, and he's just looked, I wouldn't say rattled, he never looks rattled. He's looked even more on the edge, not quite in control.
Even by his standards, a little bit too hectic.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. Some of the shapes, some of the lines have been a little bit radical. Rossi, fastest lap of the race, a 2/10 quicker than Lorenzo.
Sorry, I'm smiling. Things you thought you wouldn't hear in Aragon. Rossi, the fastest lap of the race.
Rossi in the race was things I didn't think I was going to hear.
And it's at this point for someone like Viñales, who's just dropping back, you cannot panic. Yeah. He's got to let the race come to him. He's got the harder rear on. He knows why he's got that on. That's for the second half, certainly the last 10 laps of the race.
Look at Mika Kallio right behind the Aprilia of Aleix Espargaro. 8th and 9th places, those two, chasing Crutchlow and Pedrosa. And Aleix getting frisky.
The thing about Kallio is, he's been there all weekend from the very first practice session. This is not a fluke qualifying session that he managed to hold his breath for 1 lap.
This is not a shock.
No, he's been consistently fast. He's been around about 8th. He's in 9th at the moment, and he's certainly looking to go forward.
Now that Aprilia always conserves its tyres well, so Aleix Espargaro, if he can hold it together, if the bike holds together, could be a force at the end. But meanwhile, the old master himself is closing down the leader. The gap has halved in half a lap from 0.8 to 0.4. Marquez now stalking Dovi, who has surreptitiously worked his way into 3rd place.
Incredible. The question is with Valentino is not fitness, it's pain management. So what happens, he's still full of adrenaline, but as the race goes on, it just disappears lap by lap, and you almost have a lull. Oh, well, you do have a lull, right in the middle point of the race. Obviously that comes back near the end when you're fighting.
Whoa, Mark! Guess who? You didn't need to be told, did you? Over the line, he's going to have a dip at turn 1, is he? Fastest man in the race, Marquez that time round. Dovi was for a while, a 1/4 of a second quicker than the leaders. Is Maverick holding these people up now?
Yes, he is.
Kallio on Espargaro.
Yep, Kallio up to 8th, up the inside of Aleix.
Wow, Mika Kallio.
Well, the quote of the weekend was from Kallio. I said, is this the most important race of your career? He hesitated for a split second and went, yeah, it is.
And that's a man who's been second in World Championships 3 times.
But he's fighting for his future.
And he sees his future as being a Grand Prix racer, not a tester.
And you can't blame him for that, can you?
That's what racers do, and that's that KTM there we're talking about.
Yeah, and that's, you're not seeing things. That's Cal Crutchlow in front of him.
Yes.
Who's been having a great weekend as well.
Solid weekend. 4th place on the grid as well in an all Honda second row, which made him, of course, top Honda in qualifying.
Easy to forget that. Bautista as well on the back of that group. He's been having a good weekend. He's down in 10th.
Always feisty around it. Top 4, pulling away from Maverick Vinales.
And Vinales is a roadblock for that group behind.
He's just done his personal best lap of the race, but it was a 50.3, a second slower than the leaders are doing.
1.1 seconds slower than the leaders are going. But that's what we saw all weekend, Julian. When he put the harder compound tyre in, he couldn't do the lap times. The problem is, well, why didn't he put the softer one in? Well, it won't do race distance.
It won't do race distance. It's that old equation. And we saw Maverick and Silverstone go with the softs, and we had a big, sharp intake of breath, but it worked for him.
Yeah. But you saw in the Moto2 race, Julian, as well, with this track, the corners open out. So what happens is you accelerate, you can really accelerate hard. You saw how much the bikes was like, the Moto2 bikes. You can imagine what it's like on these bikes. Yes, they've got traction control, but you'll see as the race goes on, it'll be really spinning, wearing the rubber off those big black slicks.
There is Marquez stalking Dovi, who's just been told by his pit wall he's in a group of 2, and guess who's behind you? It's number 93.
Yeah, the man you don't want behind you.
Absolutely not. Pedrosa, who's the quickest man on track? Lorenzo Just from Vinales, who's got a...
It's starting to come to him. It's starting to come to Vinales, which is what you would expect with the harder tyre.
I think that's what I was gibberingly trying to say there, Neil, that Vinales getting up to speed. Rossi still closing in on Lorenzo. Oh, wide from Marquez, but it doesn't matter.
No, as always. Everybody wide. Look how interesting that was. All 3 riders then, Rossi, Dovizioso, Marquez, all wide into the corkscrew section.
And Lorenzo, as predicted, still leading this race, as he has done from the first corner, starting from the middle of the front row.
And what we've seen all year, Lorenzo's Achilles heel is he leads for a few laps, and as soon as he gets past, Rossi's wide there. No, look at that, how bizarre. What? There's like total different lines there.
And they both seem to work. Ducati line versus a...
But they're not normally that different. Anyway, let's see if that happens again. Yeah, what I was going to say, the problem with Lorenzo is he leads, he's got a clear track, clear area in front of him, which we know through his career is like that. As soon as he gets past, he gets flustered. It's obviously, we've seen it on you can see it on your screen, but Davide Tardozzi said to me, this is something we need to eliminate. So,
yeah, as soon as the front tyre is less than perfect, Jorge's confidence dips. Is that fair?
I don't know if it's as much that. He gets his rhythm broken. He likes that clear track. He likes to do his own bizarre lines, like we just witnessed. But then once someone's in front of him, then he has to change that.
The Misano crash while leading was a lack of concentration after he'd switched engine laps and just did something differently from the previous 7 laps, and he pinged himself over the handlebars.
Yeah, big crash as well.
It was. Kallio down to 10th place now.
And Smith's moving forward, so...
yeah, they're going to come quite close together by the end of the race, I feel.
Yeah, Bradley Smith is going to give... I'm not saying that he doesn't always give everything. This race will be as close to the limit as he can do every lap as possible.
Vinales takes time out of Marquez again. You're right, Neil, aren't you? Vinales is starting to feel that tyre now, starting to get the confidence up. That's still a big gap of over 2 seconds between him and Marquez. No, first sector, it's under 2 seconds.
There we go. 18 laps to go. So, you know, it's... oh, look at Marquez. He's trying, I think.
I think you could be right, but it looks unconvincing for some reason, as you were saying earlier in the race. This is Marc Marquez, as always, riding on the limit. But Carol Abrahams crashed out of the race.
Not for the first time this weekend.
No, not having a nice time. The Czech.
And into the corkscrew, lose the front. Yeah, just asking too much of the front brake. Easily done off camber, blind. Again, TV flattens it out so you can't appreciate it. But instead of going that little bit wide, as Keith would say, you get a little bit greedy, hold it on, and you don't save them.
He's got going again. Nice to see the Czech running to the bike without a limp as Marquez attacks Dovizioso. Up over the start-finish line. Dovi's going to try and blast back up the inside. Not here, I don't think, Andrea.
He had a look though, didn't he?
Definitely thought about it.
A man that's not easy to outbreak is Marc Marquez, but a man who's, I mean, it's always been Dovi's strong point.
Absolutely. Every other rider will tell you that Andrea Dovizioso.
I remember Crutchlow telling me when they were teammates, going when he was looking at his data from the Ducati, saying, "I cannot believe how good he is, how late he is on the brakes."
Yeah. And let's see if we get a Honda Ducati drag race down that back straight again. It's always educational. We're going to get a Yamaha Ducati one. Last time we saw it, the Yamaha got out of the corner better, but the Ducati really picks its skirts up in the last few hundred metres of the straight.
Yeah, it really does. This is the best thing that Valentino could hope for in a proper battle. He hasn't time to think about his leg, the pain, the discomfort. It's just about being as perfect as he can. I mean, it's what he's trained his whole life for.
And spent most of his life, not just his adult life, his adolescence as well, doing racing motorcycles at world championship level. The man's motivation is amazing, and the same can be said of the wonderful Marc Marquez in third place. Doesn't care that motorbike isn't doing what he wanted to do, but the tyre choice might not be optimal for him. He is forcing it to go fast.
That's the word, force. He forces it every time he gets on that Honda.
Lorenzo, whoa, that, we didn't see them come out of the bus stop, but Lorenzo was on the case. Marquez.
His car park route there, that was well wrong, yeah.
Did he trip over Rossi there?
A little bit. It's difficult at the end of that straight. That's 210 miles an hour. And what happens when you're so close to another rider? You also get the wind coming off them, so it's coming underneath you. And that's what happened. It picked him up and pushed him wide.
Viñales is 1.8 seconds behind them, but Pedrosa's just done his personal best lap of the race, and he is right on Viñales' case, as you can see. They're in followed by Crutchlow, Aleix Espargaro, Bautista and Kallio.
It's very Dani Pedrosa as well, this, isn't it? Not, you know, he never like comes out the blocks. He never risks a lot. He has the tyres, the race has got to come to him. And
absolutely.
It's so frustrating watching him, you know, on strong weekends with someone like Pedrosa, and then he loses it all on the first laps.
And
mistakes.
Does he not want to turn there, or is that the Ducati and the Honda just behaving differently again?
Difficult to tell. It's Marc, but that's how many apexes is he going to miss?
Well, all of them this lap.
It's like one of my on-board laps.
Don't always say that, Neil. We'll think it for you. Scott Redding on the move. He's gone to 16th, just past Bradley Smith. None of the Tech 3s doing well. Zarco 11th, Folger 20th.
That's strange.
Where's Petrucci? 15th. There's some people having a very difficult weekend.
It is one of those weekends. Who's going to be the first person to make a mistake? Because they are pushing these lot. Got to be smart. It's all about... This will be interesting. So we're on board with Marquez. Let's see how fast this Ducati is to go through the gearbox. It loses nothing on acceleration.
No.
It should be from about here now that bike comes.
That should start getting big in the picture.
Not a lot in it.
Not a lot in it, is there? And in previous years, you'd have expected that Ducati just to gallop up to the Marquez. Now closing in on the front two. We used to have two pairs. I think we've got a triple and a singleton now at the front. And Viñales 1.5. Viñales, quickest man, was he? Just no, Dovi was, of the leading groups.
But it is credit to Honda. It's I mean, they've lacked acceleration for the last how many seasons? 3 or 4? 3. Yeah, 3 at least. And they've worked and they've worked, and they have got it back, haven't they? I don't know what they've done. I don't know if it's electronic side,
yeah, you know, aero side, everything.
It was always wheeling, wasn't it?
And they were that's a 4-man group at the front, because Lorenzo did a 47.8 that time round. Rossi did the same time, and the others did 49.6.
How lucky are we this year, Julian?
I was just thinking that,
How
Neil.
lucky. Can you remember MotoGP about 8 years ago? Or, you know, we had some long, boring races.
We knew we'd drive into the circuit and we'd have a very, very good idea what was going to happen. And Marc Marquez is about to happen to Rossi.
Oh, this is going to
go really wrong.
This is good. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Back to 4th? No, only 3rd.
Wow.
Make it 3rd. 4th.
I'm glad he ran off the track, because if he'd have tried to get that stopped, 100% he would have took the front.
Let's have another look at this.
So it's up the inside of Valentino, then it just disturbs him, and as you can see, thankfully Lorenzo wasn't tipping in, or else that would have been ugly. What that's done now is this going to split the group ever so slightly? Yeah.
It's giving Dad a heart attack.
Bear in mind, that's the corner he crashed on in qualifying. Yeah. Does he learn?
Does he
well,
care?
Does he care? We know the answer to that.
Both of them.
Is he fast? Yes.
Lorenzo still leads. He's quick. Rossi drops into the 50s. Was that an effect of the pass from Marquez, though?
Yes, I'd have thought so. One thing we've not mentioned, Lorenzo has got an incredible record round this track.
Very good point. Very good point.
You know, I think he's at the last 6 rounds, 6 times he's been here, he's always been first or second. It's something ridiculous like that. A lot of success round here. And it's a Lorenzo-style track. Fast, flowing corners. You can see the lines he uses, using all the track. He's just comfortable in that situation.
Yeah.
The question is, will his front tyre last? Because once he loses that grip on the front tyre, then you can't use those sweeping lines.
The lines that he likes to use. And still Viñales holds off Pedrosa. And he was a lot quicker than Marquez last time round, obviously, with that excursion. There's Alvaro Bautista, having a nice race in 9th ahead of Kallio, who is still in a solid 10th place and has just done a 49.7, his best lap of the race. There he is, number 36.
And to put it into some perspective, Kallio is only 4 seconds off the lead on a KTM. Julian, in their first year.
What can you say, apart from all of the rumours, and I don't know who started them, about Marc Marquez going there in a couple of years' time, make sense.
Yeah, Bradley Smith's down in 18th place, 12 seconds off. So Bradley Smith's 8 seconds behind the man who's trying to steal his ride.
And doing 51s, low 51s. Kallio's doing high 49s.
That said, there is talk that Kallio's got a completely different chassis. I have to put that out there.
Yes.
Which is clearly working. Oh, this is going to be tight. How does Marquez do that?
That's just what Dovizioso's thinking. But has he got a better line down the straight? Ducati aviates the front wheel. And he's outbraked at the end of the straight again.
But I don't think any of us had Lorenzo for the win. I know none of us had Rossi for being where he is. Was someone down?
No, someone was way off track behind us. I wonder if it was, I think it might have been Viñales. Let's, no, there's Viñales.
Marquez! Oh, he stole the line from Dovizioso there. That was close. I'd like to see an onboard from Dovizioso.
That was armed robbery, that was.
Yeah.
Dear me, he does not care about riding close, does he? He really doesn't. Dovi, though, unshakable.
You took the words out of my mouth, and that's his quality. He doesn't ride on emotion. He rides with his brain.
The nearest we get to emotion from that man, Andrea Dovizioso, was that flick of the wrist going over the line in Austria.
That's still the highlight of the season for me.
I absolutely agree with you in Moto Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he'll have a plan. But as you said at the start, it was Crutchlow who went wide. As you said at the start, damage limitation for Dovizioso would be a 4th place.
Yeah.
And if Marquez isn't in the on top of the box, even better.
Yeah. We go to a track where we all think should be more of a Ducati-style track. It's a little bit of a drag strip, isn't it?
That's what history says. And obviously, Malaysia is the same way inclined. And Dovi's not over and done with in 4th place. But that Honda grunts out of the bus stop just as well as the Ducati.
I don't want to start tempting fate, but can we actually dream about a Valentino Rossi win? Can we? Right, let's not talk about that.
I wasn't daring to go there. But there is a good... How many laps have we done now out of the 23?
So 12
done
laps
11, and still Lorenzo leads.
Yeah, good point.
That's the longest we've seen him lead a race.
It is. We've been saying it's coming. Yep. Obviously, the last race, it nearly 4 seconds lead when he crashed.
Yeah, and Lorenzo said to us, I should have won that. I could have won that by distance. And it was my fault, my lack of concentration after fiddling with an engine nut. But Valentino, 3-week-old broken leg. I wrote last night on my blog this is just one of his everyday miracles, isn't it?
Yeah.
What we have to do is assess where it is in his great canon of works. Look at this from the start. Watch 99, middle of the front row, the red Ducati. Valentino got a bit sideways.
Yeah, he did.
A lot sideways.
Vinales is all over the place. The thing popped up. As soon as it pops up, you have to grab the clutch again. Watch Vinales on the right. You can see his front wheel come up there.
Oh, yes.
And as soon as it does that, you shut off a little bit, grab the clutch, and look what a short drag it is. You literally get the clutch out, and then you're on the brakes.
I love everything about this circuit except that.
Yeah.
Is Lorenzo pulling away?
Yeah, he is.
Or is Rossi dropping back? Which you'd expect if fatigue is a problem. Then you'd expect Rossi's lap times just to drop a few tenths here and there.
That Honda is so much better on acceleration than it's been for years.
They've worked at it.
Pedrosa's just set his fastest lap.
Oh, and there's Marquez turning it inside Valentino. He's fantastic up the hill out of that last corner.
But that's his strength. Long left-hand corners, power sliding it, controlling it, all that dirt track training.
And what's the gap? Vinales still 1.3.
Oh,
there goes
Vinales,
Pedrosa.
yeah.
Honda's on the move.
And this is where Pedrosa is the ultimate teammate.
Look, he's gapped him massively already. I had another Twitter today saying, why has Danny Pedrosa still got a job? I felt like throwing my computer through the window. Yeah. You're about to find out why. And remember, late on, a couple of years ago, Pedrosa doing dreadful things to Valentino Rossi round here.
Round here, yeah. Yeah, 2 years ago, you're right. Marquez is on his way.
The gap over the line, Lorenzo to Marquez, was 0.72 of a second. It's increased very slightly in the first sector, but there was an overtake to deal with, of course. I think Domi's on the move. I think Valentino has hit the wall. I think maybe that's what he can do with that leg. He's a miracle worker, but he's not...
yeah, I think you're right.
Not, you know, he's a very fast boy, but he's not the Messiah, to paraphrase Monty Python.
Yeah, and Marquez is... looks like it's closing down. Not by a lot, but he's definitely on his way.
Yep. What's Pedrosa doing? The answer is closing the gap quite dramatically. In the box, Jorge Lorenzo. And that gap has come down to 0.49, so a couple of tenths have come off Lorenzo's lead already. But echoing what you said earlier, I almost don't care. It's still part of the Lorenzo progress towards what he has been employed to do.
Really, really important part of the race, this now for Valentino, obviously for Lorenzo Marquez. You've got to keep your concentration. It's really easy to lose that little bit of concentration. You have a few front end slides, you start to ride a little bit tight, you think, oh, the tyre's gone. Like I said, remember, the whole of Friday was a waste of time. Saturday morning, complete waste of time. The track temperature's freezing, so they've had very little time on these tyres. What's happening now for all the riders is new. They're experiencing new feelings from the tyres.
They had, a chunk of FP4 to try and predict what will be happening now.
Yeah.
Not enough time. Pedrosa's on the way, folks. Pedrosa is done another personal best lap last time round, and he's quicker than everybody except Marc Marquez. Kallio still in 9th place, by the way.
Yep, Kallio's 6 seconds behind the leaders.
And Bradley is still in 19th. Where's Pol Espargaro? 12th.
That new chassis is good.
I suspect not just the new chassis. They've had about 15 different chassis.
Fair point.
That's the joy of steel tube, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can saw a bit out and weld a wobblier or stiffer bit in. Looking back at Marc Marquez, the least comfortable position a motorcycle racer can... What was that?
That was the limit, Julian. And he flirts with it. Too much for my liking, but that's why he's... What is he, won 4 World Championships in the last 5 years.
And that's just in the top class. Can he stay upright if he's going to ride like this? Well, he's done it for years, so why should I ask such a daft question?
Well, he has done it for years, but he's not shy of hitting the deck.
And he's about to, Lorenzo's pit crew advising him to get a bit of a wriggle on as Pedrosa attacks. Ooh. Dani Pedrosa is going to put in a late charge here. 9 laps to go, and Dani Pedrosa has the pace. Another personal best that time round.
Yeah.
Dani is moving and moving quickly towards the front of this race.
Right to the front. He's 1.9 seconds off. He's only 49 points behind in the championship.
And he's 0.6 quicker than Lorenzo that time round. 0.3, 0.25 nearer than his teammate.
Yeah.
So Dani is really moving.
If he wants to keep his championship hopes alive, he has to win this race. And with the pace he's got at the moment, 9 laps to go, he's only 1.9 seconds behind Lorenzo.
If he can get past Dovi and Rossi in short order, and given what we've seen Dani do round this place, it's possible. It's possible to get
What he
past.
has to do, he cannot hesitate though
No,
now. He
if
can't
it-
hestate behind. Looks like gap's growing, as you can see, between
Absolutely.
second and
If
third.
he gets stuck behind these two for any length of time, then the attack is not possible. And he's got two of the most difficult men on the grid to get past that we're talking about.
You've got Dovi on a fast bike and he brakes late.
Yeah.
And then someone called Rossi in front of him.
Absolutely. And Dani, let's see, this will be interesting.
Here we go.
Yamaha Ducati Honda drag race.
Yep. And in the background, I can see Alicia Spargaro all over Maverick Vinales. Just what you need.
And that Aprilia.
Oh.
Look at this, look at this, look at Dani. Look at Dani. But on the brakes.
Yeah, not
on
possible.
the brakes.
But he's wide. He's wide. Here we go. Yep.
Thank you very much, says Dani Pedrosa. That is 4th place to the second of the Repsol Hondas. And I remember him beating Rossi up something rotten down the first sector a couple of years ago. Still Lorenzo leads.
I've just got that feeling someone's going to go down. Do you know, we're at that point, that, like I say, we're in unknown territory tyre-wise. They're all pushing. The lap times are staying pretty consistent.
And somebody's going to push too far into undiscovered territory. Quattro's past Callio for 10th place.
Here we go. Mark's had enough now, I think. Looks like he's going to have a go.
Will he know from his pit board that there's pressure coming from behind?
Well, I still think it's that gap's getting bigger lap by lap. Here it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why he's probably not rushing to make a move right now.
Actually being considered, you feel?
Yeah, maybe.
Pedrosa's still unable to lay a glove on Valentino, which he will need to do pretty much pronto.
He's going to have a go here. He's going to have a go into the corner. We saw him do his move early on in the race. Here we go. No. Yeah, no. Oh, no! Is he going to run off the track? It's almost.
He's made it stick.
That's called a block pass.
That is what Nicky Hayden did to Lorenzo the first year we came here.
Now, let's see if Lorenzo gets rattled. See if he can stay consistent.
And see how the Ducati goes against the Honda in a drag race. Marquez gets out of there beautifully. Oh, and that's Dani pushing Valentino out of the way.
And you cannot look.
Oh, he's done him. He's done him. Oh, now you can hear the
We're going to
crowd.
crisscross again here, I think, on the exit. Let's see. Fair play to Lorenzo. He got back past, didn't he? And again, is he going to go into turn one?
He is. Not quite. Wow. And Pedrosa is up to 3rd. Dani Pedrosa up to 3rd. That's exactly what he needed to do. Here's Maverick Vinales appearing late. And you mentioned Alicia Spargaro. If a bike saves its tyres, it's that bike, number 41, just coming into your picture.
And Alicia Spargaro is only, how far back is it? He's only 2.6 seconds off the lead. This will be the best result of the year. He had a 6th, I think, in the first race, and not that far off, maybe about 6 seconds.
Yeah, and a 7th in Germany and an 8th in the Czech Republic. Now then, Jorge, don't do what you've done in previous races and just get shuttled backwards.
But he doesn't look like he's going to.
He does. It looks more like the old Jorge Lorenzo. And that's more like the old Dani Pedrosa as well, compared to the horrors of Misano, where he only just managed to sneak 2 points late in the race. This is the season that just keeps giving, isn't it?
It really is. 7 laps, well, 6.5 laps to go now, Julian.
And I have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, with the pace that Pedrosa's got, he's going to catch. Well, I don't know if he's obviously going to try and pass his teammate if he can catch Marquez.
Of course he is.
It's not.
This is the move.
Watch him take his tire off now. It's hard. That's up to 200 miles an hour. Do you see his arm go up as well? Like, it's the wind gets older. You put your arm out of the car down when you went on the motorway 100 miles an hour. Not that you ever have done, Jules.
No, of course, never.
It nearly blows your arm off.
The coolest, you've just squeezed. Oh, Cal's down.
Crashed out of 10th place.
Blimey, that's just what I didn't want to see. I hope his finger hasn't caused any more damage. And he's
taking his gloves off anyway.
Yeah, that looks about as good news as I'd expect to see.
So Pedrosa's done the same lap time on that lap then as Marc Marquez. He's 1.7 behind.
So Lorenzo did what, 50.2, considerably slower than the two Hondas. Can Dovi get past Rossi? That'll matter for the championship.
Yeah.
And the same applies to Vinales, who's now pressing in 6th place. Mind you, he's being pressed by Alex Espargaro, as you said.
Yeah, Marquez still missing the odd apex here and there, really out wide. Look, he's actually got, that's Lorenzo's back on him now.
The gap has come down.
Yeah.
The gap has come down. What's Danny doing? Looking at the gap. He's closing. Pol Espargaro has gone past Mika Kallio, so the regular team rider has put the test rider in his place. I expect he enjoyed that quite a lot.
Yeah, but it's not over yet.
Absolutely. Only a 10th between him, and Mika Kallio is nothing if not a fighter. He was second 3 times in world title fights. He knows what it's about. Right, that is a gap now, isn't it? The question for me now is, what can Pedrosa do as Dovi decides, but not on the brakes this time?
Yeah, Pedrosa's coming, definitely. He's on his way to Lorenzo. That gap's coming down.
Vinales turning it tight. How tight was that turning?
Well, that's all about that hard rear tyres coming back now, but Dovi's going to have a go into turn 1.
Aleix Espargaro's going to join the fun, and Vinales will absolutely, for sure, as Bautista gets a bit optimistic, absolutely for sure, Vinales will go past Rossi.
Yeah.
No second thoughts. Vinales is 3rd in the championship, 16 points behind Marc Marquez. Yeah. Every point counts for Maverick, and for everybody else, of course.
Pedrosa's got this, I think. 0.4 of a second faster than Marc Marquez on that lap. The gap's now down to 1.2 seconds.
We saw it 5 laps ago and more that Danny started that move forward.
He's got this.
And we know from history, when Danny starts that sort of move, he does not slow down.
That was tight. Dovi sort of half had a look. I'm glad he decided not to go through with that one, or else he'd have been down.
Otherwise the Professor nickname would have had to be removed. Bradley Smith dropped back to 20th. Lost 2 places on the last lap as the teammates start to get friendly. I hold my breath, not as much as Lynn Jarvis does. Aleix goes car park route, lets Bautista back through. He's having a good race, Bautista.
Really good race. I mean,
here we go. Oh, that's a bit of a shove.
That pushed them both. They'll have lost a lot of time there.
Thank you, says Dovizioso. He's right on him. You're right about Pedrosa. And that's where Pedrosa got him, going down the tight inside line.
Such good riding from Valentino there, defensive. He sort of blocked that pass off.
Pedrosa managed to shove through, though, and, but the younger Vinales did not.
Can you imagine what Valentino's feeling now, though, the pain? Fastest lap of the race, Julian.
Danny Pedrosa.
Wow.
Bautista past Espargaro and looking at the factory bike with intent.
Yeah, team orders? No. No.
He rides.
Not. I know, obviously.
Yeah, no, I'm just backing up your opinion. Lovely shot of Alcaniz in the background. Just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, he came out firing, did Pedrosa fast in the wet on day 1.
Fastest man, yes.
Yeah, fastest man. Really strong looking yesterday. Just when it came to qualifying, he did put a lap together.
Indeed, and he's about
to get Lorenzo probably on this lap coming out onto the straight. Slight mistake there on the way in. Lost the rear on a closed throttle. Never nice.
Usually painful. I have to say, though, Jorge Lorenzo has ridden a cracking race here.
Well, yeah, it's his best race so far, isn't it? On a Ducati. Alaissa's coming up the inside of Bautista at the back.
He's having that back. And Bautista will try and get up the inside, and Aleix won't let him. Brilliant little bit of riding from Aleix Espargaro, as again Viñales looks. Oh, Valentino.
That's where it's so good with the helicopter, because you can see how tight it was.
And if you want to come through, I'll take us both down, was the message there. Meanwhile, Pedrosa doesn't quite get on terms with Dovi. 4 laps to go, though, Neil. 3 when we cross the line, which will be in a few seconds' time. And Danny looks like he's lining him up for turn 1.
Yeah, he has to do him straight away if he wants to win this race.
Obviously decides that outbraking Jorge is not a clever idea. Whoa, Dovi's getting pushed further back. And Viñales is through on Valentino.
Yeah.
And Valentino has the uncomfortable sight of a rampant Aleix Espargaro next in his notional wing mirrors.
Yeah, that's not going to be nice when he sees his pit board +0.
Yes.
Aleix.
Yeah. A man who has been talking tough about what Aprilia need to do, but Aleix Espargaro can talk the talk and walk the walk.
Well, you have to be able to if you're going to say it. His problem is he hasn't really backed it up enough times, but certainly what he's doing right now is as good as he's been all year. Lorenzo just a bit wide there. 2.5 laps to go.
Right, what's Pedrosa got? What can he do? He's less than a second from his teammate, the leader, over the line last time round.
Here we go. No. Yes, he's going to go for it. It's risky, off camber. And he's managed it.
He's done it. Cheers, you can hear the crowd. You are in Repsol Honda territory. Good and proper here.
So we're going to have 2.25 laps to see if this man can catch his teammate. What's the gap? It's about a second.
And Danny will...
It's 1.3. He lost time, obviously, through that manoeuvre.
2 laps to go.
It's a tall order. He's going to need a mistake, I think, now.
I think you're right. But I really don't know. I'm not going to put money on anything.
No.
As Marc Marquez comes up to cross the line and see the board telling him 2 laps to go. L2, some frantic signalling as Danny crosses the line, 1.1 seconds behind him.
And he'll be pleased to see Pedrosa, because he knows even if he catches him, Pedrosa's not going to do something silly. He's not going to take his own teammate out, is he?
Dovi's damage limitation is looking bad. He's got the 2 Yamahas in front of him, 1 Aprilia, and I don't think the customer Ducati man, Alvaro Bautista, will be at all shy about pushing past. So Dovi could end up in 8th place and only score 8 points.
The gap's staying the same. It's 1.1. Between Marquez and Pedrosa.
Yep, it's only varied by hundredths. We're on board with the leader, the championship leader, the race leader, the man looking to extend his lead. If we put the flag out now to 16 points, and that sounds significant with 4 races to go.
It really does. It makes you think what would have been as well if he'd not had that the DNF at Silverstone. He was in a strong position there. He certainly was going to get a podium finish. So he's had it tough.
Very.
The beauty of this season is, though, there's a lot of great tracks coming up. With this is the moment where this is the moment when he goes through and he pushes them both wide. Valentino keeps the throttle and thinks, no way. Dovi then gets... we didn't see that bit, did we? Dovi was there planning to square them off, but...
he had a small matter of number 25 where he didn't want it.
But Julian, with the tracks we've got coming up, with the weather, the climate of going to Malaysia, Phillip Island, where it can do anything.
Japan,
exactly. So, it's far from over, this championship.
The lead's gone up from 1.1 to 1.3. Marquez over Pedrosa. Looks like a 1-2 for Repsol Honda, but I cannot see, with 1 lap to go, that Danny is going to put a glove on Marc Marquez. I think the man we take our hats off to is this man.
Well, yeah, and obviously Valentino has been able to race. But this man, this will be his best, equally his best finish of the year. Another podium. He's only had 1 in Jerez.
That's right.
But when he got that podium, he was 14 seconds off the win. Now he's 1.9 at the moment.
Yeah, this is Lorenzo's best race on a circuit he's always liked, even though Ducati have never been too successful here. That's looking back at Alvaro. This is looking at Mark, who is got less than a second on Danny. We think it's done. Danny doesn't.
It's got to be done. Like I say, it would have to be a mistake for Marc Marquez. And in this situation, it's rare you've seen him a mistake on a last lap. I mean, he is a winning machine. Half a lap to go. Round this long turn 10, a beautiful corner on a MotoGP bike. Get it to the apex, then you just slide all the way out to the curves, as you can see.
The gap was 0.8 through the first sector. It's back to 1.1. Marc Marquez has the hammer down. It's under control. We are in Aragon. We are in genuine Marc Marquez territory. You've got to go quite a long way to find a yellow flag in the crowd. They're all that colour.
Yeah. I just didn't feel it this weekend for Marc. I didn't think he was going to do it. So impressive. I mean, had a difficult weekend.
Down the straight for the last time. The gap is a second. It's academic.
It really
third is safe. And Lorenzo is third. Vinales looks pretty much safe from his teammate in fourth as well. Marc Marquez lines up the last corner. His fans, and they are his fans here, who rejoice in another win. Great fighting second from Dani Pedrosa, and the best race we've seen on a Ducati from Jorge Lorenzo in third. The big loser, Andrea Dovizioso, started the day level on points at the top of championship and can only manage 7th place.
And the big thing is, he knows, he looks, he sees Pedrosa second, sort of nowhere in the championship for him. Lorenzo third, nowhere in the championship. That is a big victory for Marc Marquez.
Yeah, in terms of the spoilers, the men who have run in the field, why do Repsol Honda can keep employing Dani Pedrosa? Have a guess.
That's why.
Great ride from Danny, great ride from Marc. A couple of occasions when we thought he was going to repeat those crashes of 2015 and 14, and he opens up a gap to 16 points. He was level at the start of the day. He now has, am I wrong to call it a significant looking lead?
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. It is a significant looking lead in this year's championship, Julian.
Yes, yeah.
Other years, and momentum, which is everything in this sport.
It's everything in any sport. If we go from the races, let's go from Germany, the race before the summer break, shall we? Marquez wins. Summer break, Bueno wins. Austria, second. Silverstone blows up while in the lead.
Would have been podium, worst case.
Definitely podium. Last time out, wins with the fastest lap. The fastest lap in this race was for Dani Pedrosa, but that does not alter the fact that his teammate Marc Marquez has won. Repsol Honda have a 1-2 and they are happy. Ah, nice from the marshal. 12+1. Another memory of Angel Nieto.
Wow, that must feel good for Marc Marquez. Just one of those weekends with that mixed weather.
And that bike not looking, as you say, there were things that didn't look right.
Nobody was going into this race with any confidence. No one knew what was going to happen.
And that crowd, you can see some yellow in it, but let me assure you, this is the heartland of Marc Marquez support.
Look at that.
A lot of the yellow, by the way, in there is Maverick Vinales.
Yeah. Brilliant. Great race.
And that is
this man.
Fourth,
can you imagine?
Fifth place. And I don't understand where the motivation comes from.
No, well, he's going to have a nice 2 weekends off.
And he'll be back and fighting in Motegi.
What about Vinales? Will he be? He'll be frustrated with that, won't he?
Yes. 5 seconds off Marquez. Unable to use the softer tyre, and he had to wait a long time.
Yeah. Brilliant. Great race.
And that is
this man.
Fourth.
Can you imagine?
Place. And I don't know how he does it. I do not understand where the motivation comes from.
No, well, he's going to have a nice 2 weekends off.
And he'll be back and fighting in Motegi.
What about Vinales? Will he be? He'll be frustrated with that, won't he?
Yes, 5 seconds off Marquez. Unable to use the softer tyre, and he had to wait a long time for that tyre to come to him, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
That looked like a race conditioned by the tyre. He always likes to use the soft option, and he wasn't able to.
Look at sliding it. Look at this, Julian. That's what we saw. We saw that from the onboard of Lorenzo, didn't we?
We did. That's a crash.
That's what makes him different. That he can, all the top MotoGP riders can slide bikes. That's an off throttle. He's tipped it in a little bit too aggressive. As it starts to slide, it's like he just throws his body onto the ground to dig everything in.
That's what you need to know about this racetrack. That's what you see when you come to Aragon. Unconditional support for the Marquez brothers. Catalonia as a track is geographically nearer to their home.
Press reset, did you see him then?
Yes. But this is the Marquez home.
And this is not an actual scene now, this walk. This is not,
That is just remarkable.
Yeah, it is.
Just remarkable. And that is an interesting result from Jorge Lorenzo. And Marquez, as I was saying, Neil, his home is actually nearer to the Catalan Grand Prix track, but this sort of place, this sort of town, this high Terra Alta area, this is Marquez, this is where he's from.
Yeah.